Grand Zaviak, everybody. Before I begin, I want to shout out my lunar energies, and I'm going to say a prayer for Artemis in this season of harvest. I pray you, Artemis, free-hearted child of Zeus and blessed Leto, courageous goddess who roams the wild woods with silver bow at hand. Welcome, beloved Artemis. Our keen-eyed queen, I beg you hear me now. I pray you guide me that I might find the way. I pray you strengthen me that I might preserve along it. Make my discernment as yours, that I might find worthy aims. Make my instinct as yours, that I might seize worthy opportunities. Welcome, sister of Apollo, golden huntress, we honor and we thank you. Today I'm going to be covering the letter J, and two constructs that I specifically like correlated with the letter J are judgment and justice. They are quite relevant in my never-ending battle with my karmic cycles, my karmics, the situation that I am advocating for. Anyways, if you want to use a rune that's related to the letter J, Jera would be the rune. Can you check that? Jera represents harvest, patience, cycles, completion, and reaping. Reaping the rewards or reaping your karma, because Jera also, on the alternative, represents poverty, conflict, and regression. So if you were successful in a season in your behavior and it was karmic behavior, there will be a regression, a theoretical turning of the tables, if you will. J being the 10th letter of the alphabet, the number 10 itself represents completion, wholeness. In Pythagorean numerology, it is perfection. 1 and 0, even in binary code computer programming at a basis, it is a bunch of ones and zeros. That is a perfect sequence. 1 and 0 always breaks down to 1, which is bringing into reality. So we are exiting the first 1 through 9 and entering a new beginning, if you will. The significance of 10 has a wide range. It's 10 fingers, 10 toes. It is also relevant to harmonious and balanced integration. In the Bible, you have law, judgment, the 10 commandments, if you will. The metric system is based on the number 10 itself. 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, 1 decimeter is 10 centimeters, and so on and so forth. In numerology, 10 just represents a powerful symbol of personal transformation and enlightenment. It also symbolizes unity arising from multiplicity. So 10 is a very relevant number. It's quite significant when you're on a path of enlightenment. Now, J itself is a powerful symbol that represents various concepts such as justice, journey, joy, and Jesus. The letter J in context of justice, you can practice fairness and equality in treating everyone with respect and do not discriminate against anyone based on their gender, their race, religion, social status. Also, speak up against any injustices or injustice that you witness and advocate for those who are marginalized or oppressed, like what I'm doing. I'm in a never-ending attempt to bring down the corruption occurring in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania. There seems to be a select group of people misappropriating their positions, washing each other's hands, breaking apart families for personal gain. And I said this from day one. It seems like a kids for cash scandal. I understand there was one before. This seems restructured, revamped with a lot more hands in the pool. Because you have people that are ex-DA who used to work for CPS in the office that seems to toss investigations and disregard what kids are saying. And then you have people who get criminals off of, vehicular manslaughter charges, and then they end up getting a promotion and working in a facility where children receive therapy, but that therapy these children are receiving is basically telling them the trauma they experienced, that there's police records and CPS recording of never happened, that they're brainwashed, and that they are perpetuating the brainwash method, whatever they want to do. They're convincing these kids that these things never happened. So say if our kids were abused, assaulted, sexually molested, they're convincing people, not people, these kids, that this stuff never happened, despite there being a case history, and record of its occurrence. So I don't know if it's some kind of weird racketeering. I could only speculate and guess. I would assume by some people's connections, there's some political ties there. So obviously there's going to be some back-ended deals. And then some people seem to only represent criminals or people that are distraught in life. So they would have other favors, you know, not just politically, but on the streets too. You got both ends covered. And then I guess at some point, people would be getting paid to keep their mouths shut. Unfortunately, if that is the case, I would assume at some point that's going to pop up and bite you in the ass, because that is what is considered bribery. And anything over $500 is a federal charge, and it is federal jurisdiction. And because there's a monetary involvement, payment, and or gratuity, if you will, involved, that's an automatic federal case. So a person convicted of federal bribery can likely face felony charges with penalties ranging from 5 to 10 years in prison, along with steep fines. And over 80% of bribery offenders that get sentenced to prison, charged with fines, and get a minimum of 2 years, depending on what it is. I mean, if it's reoccurring payments or something, you know, you got a long history of taking bribes, and sheesh, it's not going to look too good. Because the Bribery Act also states penalty of imprisonment of up to 10 years. This prison sentence will be decided regarding on the severity of the bribery offense, the penalty of a fine, and the fine can actually be unlimited. So if they want to charge you with $1 billion fine, they could do that because they have that jurisdiction. And if that seems unfair, depending on what you were taking the money for, might also seem very unfair to some people, because then we would have quite a conflict of interest and prearrangements of outcomes of things that shouldn't have happened, especially with a group of people that allow perjury, have committed forgery on legal instruments, which I have submitted proof to. And since you guys are so content with committing forgery and committing perjury and openly abusing your power, violating your oaths of office, civil rights, putting children in danger, and acting like, you know, you're cool because you got everybody in your back pocket, I can't imagine what else you guys are involved in. So Luzerne County, Pennsylvania has a lot going on, and I'm going to sit here and stand firm in my view that it is a Kids for Cash scandal, unless it's something much more sinister. In which case, I hope I get front rows to that sentencing. Because if you think you're going to screw with my kid and I'm just going to go away because you ran me through a loophole to make my life impossible and you stole my child from me, how many other people are you doing this to? How many other families are you separating? How much are you profiting off of people that you view, like myself, as stupid and unimportant? Especially when you attack somebody who's smart enough to ask these questions, look into this stuff, check the legalities, and correlate my rights with what happened, and just make sure I maintained an accountability record and have documentation to support my claim. How many other people are you taking advantage of? Anyways, I digress. So, where was I? Let's see. Yeah, just a man smart enough to ask questions. Sorry, I'm looking at my script. Anyways, I like to ask questions when people abuse their power, violate their oaths of office, and violate my civil rights, and abuse the system to weaponize it, because you guys utilize that to harass me, try to, on numerous occasions, put me in jail on a contempt. You threaten me by means of intimidation while laughing about it behind the scenes, saying, you know, the saying, laugh now, cry later. You know, I've had fake accounts message me, giving me my address, providing me my government information, threatening me to shut up. I've actually had attorneys tell me I need to shut my fucking mouth and back off because I'm in over my head. And I get ran in circles by anyone in that area, but absolutely nothing is going on, according to these people. Everything was done copacetically, you know. Screw the fact that I requested discovery and I got told off by the secretaries. I've requested recusal on multiple occasions and the judge wouldn't even acknowledge it. And I'm going to say this again, I do not care who you think you are, who you're connected to, how much money you all have. I'm not going to be going away or giving up, backing off, or letting go. You mess with my blood, and I'm going to utilize my ancestral gift of voice to speak in body strength and courage to keep pushing forward, because this was done to me, and I have a pretty well understanding of my rights, the law, and what went on. And again, I just can't imagine how many other families you guys are taking advantage of, and how many kids are suffering, being neglected, because you guys played this game of chess. The grand question of all is why? Favors, money, assets, personal enjoyment. I really hope the feds rip your asses apart at some point, because I'd hate to think this all relies solely on a dirty inside man with a few internal cover-ups to wipe tracks, because there's always a master ledger and archive somewhere, and at some point someone might slip or say something they shouldn't have. People like to talk when they drink. Word of mouth spreads around quickly, and a circle, an empire, is only as strong as your weakest link. So if your weakest link ends up talking and it circles quickly, I can promise you that if I know some things, the right people already know some things. So it's only a matter of time. Anyways, backtracking on the concepts. Getting into the concept of journey, that's often linked to personal growth and self-discovery. This can involve meditation, prayer, traveling to places that inspire you during your journey. Take time to reflect on your inner self and gain a deeper understanding of your purpose in life. Joy now is linked to the concept of God's love and peace that comes with spiritual fulfillment. To focus on cultivating a sense of gratitude and positivity in your life, practice mindfulness. Take time to appreciate the simple things that bring you joy, such as spending time with loved ones, being in nature, pursuing a hobby that you love. For Jesus is a central figure in Christianity. His teachings emphasize love, compassion, and sacrifice. Getting into judgment, in a legal sense, judgment is a court decision spelled out in a court order that adjudicates a dispute between two parties by determining the rights and obligations of each party. Then you have spiritual judgment, which is divine judgment. Judicium divinum, as an imminent act of God, denotes the action of God's retributive justice, by which the destiny of rational creatures is decided according to their merits and demerits. And again, I'm somebody who very much values justice and judgment. I like following the laws of Mayat. I very much indulge in old practices and viewpoints. It made more sense, and it quite literally structured the society that we live in today. A lot of the stuff that was written over 1,000 years ago is still relevant today. I just caution everybody when they are entering in karmic contracts, God's going to let you do what you want to do because we all have free will. You can't blame God for a shitty outcome, and you most certainly cannot blame Satan for your actions, because you as a human being have free will, free consciousness, free mind in a singular body. You cannot blame external forces for what you choose to do, because A and B can give you options, but only you can see which ones are available to you, and you see your way through those options. So heaven or hell is the constructs. Am I going to see life through a viewpoint through heaven and show love? Or am I going to see life through a viewpoint of hell, be karmic, and fuck around and find out? I love fucking around and finding out, but I'm in the middle spectrum. and I'm just sitting here waiting for the shit show to unravel. And I apologize for veering off a little bit earlier. It's just one of the things that I am actively advocating for, because I recognize that there's an issue going on, and I really feel for the families that are suffering. I have spoken to a handful of people that have had similar outcomes with a very specific group of people that I have, if you reach out to me. And when the faces and names are changed, the outcomes are different. But for this one specific group, even if you know to go left, they're gonna go right. The question is why? And my problem isn't just my personal issue. I really feel for the families and other kids that are affected in this, because if this is a Kids for Cash scandal, like the last one that worked so spectacularly well, blew up in their face. Only there seems to be a lot more involvement with this one, so I can't imagine what else is going on. And I wonder how we're laundering our money to hide any payments we might be receiving. That's going to be an interesting outcome. But I guess the IRS would be the ones to look into that. So hopefully we dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's, because you picked the wrong one. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I'm going to end this by publicly exalting some other entities that I have been working with. Aramenok az kamir dorvasos elis ram shal zehonair enkorath malkishor Neolgorath, Zalkothar, Zarnathos. And may the abysmal serpent devour you in your misdeeds and demerits. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Hope you found this information useful. Blessed be.